Hello, my PokePadawans and TBU fans alike, and welcome to Week 2 of the Battle Union. Our opponent this week is Trip and the Dallas Staravias. Now, I went over the team yesterday in the team analysis video. If you haven't already, please do check that out if you want to know all about what team I'm running. So yeah, I was quite looking forward to this week. As I said in the video yesterday, Trip is apparently a very good player, so I certainly had my work cut out for me, and yeah, it definitely showed in the game. So I'll just do a quick run over of Trip's team. He brought Umbreon, Mega Lopunny, Tangrowth, Vaporeon, Kyurem, and Mew. Mostly what I thought he'd bring. I didn't expect to see Vaporeon, and I wasn't really expecting Umbreon either. I mean, I wasn't not expecting it, but I wasn't expecting it. So the main thing that really stood out to me that he didn't bring was the Entei. I really did think the Entei was coming, because it was a bit of a problem for me, because like I said, the E-Speed priority would make it a problem for me, because even my Scarfers wouldn't be able to outspeed it, and it just generally causes a lot of damage to a lot of things. So I was surprised that the Entei didn't come. But yeah, so let's just jump over into the battle and we'll get it going. So I opened with Jinx because I thought that was the best lead that I have, and he opens with Mew, as I thought he would. So at this point I decided the best thing I can do is switch out to Aromatisse, because it's the mon I've got that I least mind losing the item off. The Custap Berry on Aromatisse, because nothing else really wanted to lose its item. Certainly not my Scarfers. Latias wouldn't appreciate a knockoff either. So I went out into Aromatisse because, like I said, I didn't mind losing the item off that so much. I clicked the Reflect, and he actually switched out to his Tangrowth. Well, I was fearing the Poison Jab at this point, so I didn't really want to sit in on that, even though I've just got the Reflect up. So I switch over into Latias, and he reveals he's got the Sludge Bomb instead of the Poison Jab, so I was a bit surprised at that. Tangrowth, I don't think Tangrowth's really known for its special attack ability, so I don't know, maybe he was expecting physically defensive Aromatisse. So anyway, at this point I figured there wasn't much that Tangrowth could do to Latias, so I saw an opportunity to start setting up some Calm Minds. He switches into Umbreon, obviously expecting a Psychic type attack, which I don't have. The only attack I've got on this thing was Dragon Pulse. And on the second Calm Mind, Umbreon does unfortunately get a Toxic off on us, which is unfortunate, because without that, Latias would have been able to continue setting up and basically just sweep all over the team. But because of the Toxic, we're under the pressure of the rising damage from the Toxic, and then whatever Umbreon wants to do to us as well. At this point, he goes for a Wish. Obviously, he was expecting me to go for an attack. At this point, I was worried that... At this point I go for a Recover, because I was worried that he'd start going for Foul Plays or something and doing damage on us. And even though we are physically defensive, we do not enjoy the Dark type hits like that. And yeah, so at this point, with the Toxic damage building up, Umbreon dealing super effective damage to us, we've got the Recover, but just going for it and dealing damage wasn't worth it, because even at +3, this has got like no investment in special attack, so it wasn't worth trying to kill this thing, because it wouldn't kill. We'd probably end up just going down to Toxic damage before, because of Umbreon's Wish stalling. So I decided to switch Latias out into Aromatisse, because there's very little that Umbreon can threaten Aromatisse with. We have the Aromatherapy, so we can get rid of the Toxic, and that's what I go for. He switches out back into Tangrowth, probably still thinking that we are physically defensive. I wasn't sure how well I'd take a Sludge Bomb. I mean, for all I know, this could be like Expert Belt or something, or special attack invested Tangrowth, so I didn't really want to risk it So I switch it into Aerodactyl, and the fact that it does so little damage to Aerodactyl shows me that that Tangrowth has not got much in the way of special attack power, which means Aromatisse has got very little to worry from. Anyway, I knew that he was going to switch out at this point, so I saw an opportunity to get a free substitute up. And he switches out into Umbreon, so I go for the Stone Edge to get some damage. So it's about 35% to this Umbreon, which is less than I wanted to, but it is an Umbreon, so he goes for the foul play, and obviously Aerodactyl's huge attack power comes through, allowing Umbreon to break the substitute. I could go for another Stone Edge here, but it wouldn't kill, and then Umbreon would just take me down with foul play, so I switch back out into Aromatisse, because as I say, Aromatisse has got nothing to worry about from Umbreon. At this point, he protects just to see what I do, probably to see whether I was going to pull out some, I don't know, some kind of crazy shenanigans, but no, I just switched out to Aromatisse. Then he goes back out into his Tangrowth, obviously feeling that the Sludge Bomb on Tangrowth is a good choice of ways to go, but he must have predicted me to switch out into Latias, because I suspect that that was Hidden Power Ice that he just went for on the Aromatisse. So I just go for the Wish, just to be safe, because I was expecting a Sludge Bomb. Obviously he's expecting me to switch out into Latias to try and get the Wish Pass off, but I decided to just stay in, because I don't want Latias taking a Hidden Power because it's so low on HP. He sees that I'm not switching out and goes for the Sludge Bomb. So I think at this point, after seeing that damage, I have nothing to fear from this Tangrowth. I can literally just stay in and do whatever I want, and he sees exactly the same. He knows there's no point to keeping Tangrowth in, so he switches out into Vaporeon. So I just go for the Moonblast, because I just wanted to get some damage off at this point. I didn't want to just be sitting here, healing and setting up Reflex. I wanted to start getting damage off on some things, start wearing his team down. So his Vaporeon reveals he's got the leftovers, and I switch out into Mrs. Mean because I was expecting a Scald, and I was right. So we switch into the Scald. It does absolutely nothing because we changed his Dry Skin, and this means that I can just go for a Scarfed Energy Ball on the next turn to deal damage to this thing, which it does a very nice amount of. Vaporeon then reveals the Roar, which was interesting because this just gives me a free switch out into something else. Unfortunately, it was Aerodactyl, and I know Vaporeon's renowned for being bulky, and there's no way I'm going to kill that thing unless I reveal the Sky Attack from where it is. So I switch out, not wanting to take a Scald, straight out into Latias, who does not fear anything from this Vaporeon unless it's got the Ice Beam. This was a bit of a risk, so I had no idea if it had the Ice Beam. I decided to risk it for a biscuit. Switch out into Latias, take the Scald, we absolutely eat it up, and he reveals that he does not have the Ice Beam by switching. So I get a free recovery up, restoring Latias to a good amount. He switches out into Kyurem, and I do not want to be sitting in on this thing because it's going to have nasty ice beams and stuff. So I get the hell out of there and bring in Mienshao because I was calculating it, and unless this thing was max special attack, we can live an Ice Beam. Unfortunately, it turns out that it was max special attack. So, unfortunately, we lose Mienshao on the switch, but that gives me a free switch out into my Skill Link Tintino. Now, I say it's Skill Link Tintino as I go for a Rock Blast on the Kyurem. So I kind of thought he might stay in, you know, risking it, seeing if we've got the Rock Blast or not. And it only lands 3 hits. I mean, he switches it into Tangrowth, so it didn't make much difference anyway. But it only lands 3 hits, and that shows me that I don't have the skill link that I wanted. I actually have Technician, which is unfortunate. So I'll go for the Gunk Shot and deal a hefty portion of damage to this Tangrowth. He hits me with a Sludge Bomb, gets a crit, but we do survive it, Jerry hanging on in there. The Tangrowth is now really, really weak, so that's going to be easy to take out when it comes in. I go for the knockoff because I was suspecting he might switch, and he switches into Mew, which was the perfect thing. We go for another knockoff. Unfortunately, because it's already lost its item, it doesn't take as much damage, and it allows Mew to go for a soft boiled. At this point, there's nothing I can do to Mew with Cinccino to take it down, so I switch out back into Chanel number 9 because this is the best thing I've got for Mew. It still has the knockoff, and I still really don't want to lose any items to this thing. He just goes for another softball, getting himself back up to full, which is an absolute nightmare because Mew's a real pain in the backside for me at this point. He goes for a knockoff. I suspect that may have been his only attack. No, I tell a lie, that wasn't his only attack. He actually reveals another one later on. So he keeps going for knockoffs anyway. I don't know whether he's expecting me to switch or what he was expecting, but I just stay in because I don't care about knockoff at all. As I say, I don't want to lose items anywhere else. I think he was possibly expecting me to go out into Latias at some point because he reveals the Ice Beam. Unless he was hoping for some freeze hacks. So yeah, he reveals the Ice Beam on me. And I just stay in because this Mew can do absolutely nothing to my Aromatisse. Absolutely nothing. I'm wearing him down with Moonblast, but unfortunately, as soon as he gets down to a dangerous level, he just goes for a soft boil. So we're getting nowhere fast. We're getting absolutely nowhere with this because I can Wish recover, he can soft boil recover. At the current rate, he'll run out of soft boils faster than I run out of Wishes. But that will also wear down my number of Moonblasts. I was starting to wonder whether he was trying to PP store me out of Moonblasts at this point. Because the battle goes on like this for a little while. With Mew and Aromatisse just locked in a stalemate. I go for the Reflect. You know, just in case we need the physical defense later on. And he, obviously tired of the battle, switches his Mew out and brings in the Vaporeon. Probably wanting to raw me out again. So I just continue going for Moonblasts because I want to keep that damage racking up. Hopefully I can wear down Mew's soft boil PP and it won't be able to recover. I just go for another Moonblast because I feel nothing from this Vaporeon. Absolutely nothing to fear. He goes for a Roar, which again is just a free switch for me. It's literally just a free switch, and he brings in Aerodactyl. And I figure at this point we could take this thing down. Now I don't want to risk the Stone Edge, so I just click Crunch, but we're an Aerodactyl, we've got loads of attack power. Surely we could take down a Vaporeon from this range with Crunch. No, we can't. Vaporeon, it turns out, is incredibly resistant, and it just takes out my Aerodactyl with a Scald, which is very unfortunate because I didn't even get to reveal the Power Herb Sky attack. I could have gone for it there, but I didn't want to reveal it too early. I was still hoping that I could lend a para on Mega Lopunny and bring in Aerodactyl to finish it off. So at this point, Mrs. Meme is my only answer to Lopunny. So I come in, click the Psychic, and at this point I realise that I've made a mistake because I'm just giving him a free switch into Umbreon. I should have clicked the Signal Beam. I realised as soon as I did it what was going to happen, and I should have clicked the Signal Beam because it hits Tangrowth, Umbreon and Mew, and I stupidly went for the Psychic, which allows him to bring in Umbreon, which is exactly what he does. So I can't do anything. I don't want to take a foul play. I switch out Mrs. Meme because, like I say, she's my only answer to Mega Lopunny at this point. And I go straight back into Chanel number 9. She's putting the work in this game, Aromatisse's. So he just goes for a Toxic. It does miss, but it really doesn't make any difference because, as I say, I have the Aromatherapy. I've already revealed the Aromatherapy as well. So I'm not sure what he was trying to gain from Toxicing my Aromatisse. Whether he was trying to wear me down or what he was trying to do, because there's very little that Umbreon can do other than Toxic me. I'll just keep going for a Moonblast here, trying to get some damage off on this thing because it doesn't have the recovery options. Wait, yes it does, it has Wish, what am I on about? But that takes 2 turns. The thing is, if we can deal enough damage to this fast enough, we could take it down before it'll get a Wish off. So anyway, he just goes for a Wish, and I didn't want to prematurely click Aromatherapy, so I go for the Moonblast again, thinking maybe we can get some extra damage off on this thing. I mean, I kind of had a switch in the back of my mind, you know, wondering if he would, if he wouldn't. And I didn't want to click the Wish and give something a free switch in, because I was thinking that the Flash Cannon Kyurem would be in it any minute. So I keep clicking Moonblast, and then the one turn that I don't click it, he switches out into Kyurem, which is not good. Is not good. So anyway, I go for a wish. At this point, I've still got the Toxic on. It's still building up damage, and I really need to get rid of it. So I make a really risky play here, and I go for the Aromatherapy, knowing that the Wish Recovery is coming. He goes for an Ice Beam and deals hefty damage to my Aromatisse, even though we are specially defensive. We do not take that Ice Beam well. So I get the Aromatherapy up, which is fortunate because that turn the Toxic would have killed me otherwise. The Wish comes true, restoring some HP. But Kyurem is faster. It goes for another Ice Beam, brings us down to a very low amount of health, brings us down to yellow. I go for a Moonblast. We get half damage on this thing. Now this is where it's unfortunate that the Crustat Berry was knocked off, because at that health, if we still had the Crustat Berry, we would have gotten a priority Moonblast on that thing and killed it. So I switch out into Cinccino, thinking I can get a free switch out into possibly Jinx with the Focus Blast, which I don't really want to rely on, but it's the only option I've got. So I switch out into Cinccino to sack it off for a free switch, and he goes for a Substitute, which was an odd play, which just gives me a free Rock Blast. So I click the Rock Blast, and it takes out the Kyurem. So that's a kill for Jerry. Jerry kills Kyurem, which is cool. So he brings out the Lopunny, and at this point I know that it's a waste to keep Cinccino in on a fake out just to let it go down. So I switch in Jinx, figuring that we can take a fake out. I mean, I was praying here that he didn't just go for a straight up return, because there was no way Cinccino was going to take him down. Not at full health, but he does go for the fake out, thankfully. And Jinx lives it. Not comfortably, but we do live it. So he was obviously fearing a Scarf, because he switches straight out as I click the Psychic again. Because I didn't want to risk him staying in. That's why I didn't click the Signal Beam. I didn't want to risk over-predicting, click his Signal Beam, he would take it, live it, and then I'd just die the turn after and I'd lose my answer to Lopunny, so I clicked the Psychic. He switches in Tangrowth, it goes down to the Psychic, so a kill for Jinx there. And then he goes straight out into Umbreon, because it is his answer to Psychic Jinx. I go back out into Aromatisse, and he goes for a Wish this turn. Now, I'm hoping that I will get a chance to go for my own Wish and restore Aromatisse to health at this point. But he is not going to allow that. He switches straight out to Lopunny. And because the Wish takes an extra turn, this is not an ideal situation, because it gives him the chance to just go for that return, because he's much faster than we are, and we don't get any recovery, unfortunately. That's the down point to Wish being a 2-turn move. So I bring in the Jinx here, hoping that maybe he'd get greedy and stay in, praying that he didn't have the Quick Attack, which thankfully it seems he didn't. And I figured he might switch this time, so I went for the Signal Beam. He switches out into Mew, obviously expecting the Psychic again. And Mew takes the Signal Beam decently. I think there was a chance for us to kill from the range it's at now with another Signal Beam. But I didn't want to risk the knock. I didn't want to take the knock off because I was worried that it would live. So I switch out into Latias, which is the only bulky one I've got left. We do take the knock off, but not well. He switches his Mew out into Umbreon, obviously still thinking that we've only got Psychic attacks, which we don't. We've got Dragon Stab instead, and brings the Umbreon out. Now I was hoping that he was going to switch into the Lopunny, so I went for the T-Wave on the switch, but unfortunately it was the Umbreon, and the Synchronized does paralyse me as well. So at this point I figured I can't really switch out. I've only got Jinx and Cinccino left. Cinccino's not going to take a hit. Jinx is not going to take a hit from this thing either. The only option I've got is to try and recover or do some damage to this thing. So I click the Dragon Pulse the first turn. He goes for a Foul Play, and no way, I clicked the Recover, sorry. I clicked the Recover, because I've got the Rocky Helmet, and I was figuring that as long as I can keep recovering, he'll keep taking Rocky Helmet damage. I was hoping that the paralysis would come through for me a little bit, but it doesn't. It actually comes through for him. And yeah, Latias kind of goes down to its and becomes a victim to its own T-Wave. So that was unfortunate. So Umbreon's sitting here now, lots and lots of health. All I've got left is a very weak Chinchino and a just less than half health Mrs. Meme. So the best option I've got is to come in and click Signal Beam, hoping that this thing is wafer thin on the special side. So I go for the Signal Beam, he goes for the Protect. I'm not sure what he was fearing from the Latias, but I go for the Signal Beam, and it does absolutely bad damage. It does negligible damage, which pretty much opens the game up at this point, because it means he can just go for a foul play on Jinx, takes me down. So misses me in going down again, sadly, but she did well this week. So Umbreon's sitting here at lots and lots of health. It doesn't care that it's paralysed because it's slow anyway. But yeah, so I bring in Jerry because Jerry's all I've got, and the strongest attack I've got is the Gunk Shot. So I go for the Gunk Shot. We do some decent damage, and then the paralysis comes through on Umbreon. Umbreon is fully paralysed this turn, so he gets a little bit of leftovers recovery. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, is it possible? Are we going to get are we going to kill Umbreon with Jerry? So he actually gets full parried, but I'm not sure what he clicked that turn, whether it was quick attack or what it was, because he actually went first that turn. But he gets paralysed and allows me to go for another Gunk Shot. He does live it. We go for another Gunk Shot. We outspeed that time, and it kills. We managed to land all 3 Gunk Shots somehow. I don't know how, but we managed to land all 3 Gunk Shots. We take down the Umbreon, getting another kill for Jerry, but at this point he brings out Lopunny. It's obvious what's going to happen. He goes for the fake out, and Jerry goes down to it. And that is game. That is game. So that's a 2-0 for Trip. But honestly, that was such a game. Such an incredible game. It really was. I mean, for one, I can't believe how well I played. I mean, I don't usually play that well, but I think I think I did admirably that game. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but yeah. I lost a few things on unfortunate switches. I mean, when the Curon was in, I had no real switching to it. Losing the Mienshao when I did cost me. Losing Air did cost me as well. Looking back, I should never have risked it. I should have switched out into Jinx to take the Scold that I knew was coming, but I didn't know whether Vaporeon was going to go for another Roar or what it was going to do. But I should have played it safe. I should have gone out into Jinx to take the Scold. So that was a misplay there. And again, the way he switched the Kyurem in on the one turn that I didn't click Moonblast was just because the reason I kept clicking the Moonblast against Mew, I think it was because I was expecting the Kyurem to come in, because I was fearing the Flash Cannon. I knew that even specially defensive, we would not take a Flash Cannon well from Kyurem. So that's why I kept clicking Moonblast. And the turn I clicked the Wish. No, wait, it was... I can't remember. Anyway, I needed to click the Wish when I did, because the toxic damage was building up. I needed the recovery, and the one turn that I don't click Moonblast, he brings in the Kyurem, so that was unfortunate as well. But all that aside, it was an incredible game. There were a lot of mind games going on during the game. You know, a lot of Shall-I's, Shan'Tai's. Clearly we were probing each other's sets. I'm not sure why the Tangrowth was running special attacks over physical. It probably would have done far more to my Aromatisse if it was running the Poison Jab. I'm also not sure on the Raw Vaporeon, because I don't know whether it was the optimal set for this game, because if I hadn't stayed in, it was essentially giving me free switches into stuff when Vaporeon used the Raw. And if Aerodactyl had killed with that crunch, then I don't know. I mean, it turns out that it gave Vaporeon a kill, but I don't know. I don't know what the thinking was for that Raw set. But anyway, it was a good game. I just couldn't get past all of the bulk on Trip's team. I mean, he had Umbreon, Tangrowth, Vaporeon, and Mew. So much bulk on that team. Followed up by the power of Kyurem and Lopunny. I, on the other hand, had more power than bulk in Mienshao, Aerodactyl, Cinccino and Jinx over the defensive side of Latias and Aromatisse, who, kudos, did the work this week. Aromatisse did so well this week, so I'm very proud of her. So that's my week 2 game, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, I apologise for the rubbish commentary. You know, it is what it is. I use much scrub and all the rest of it. So our opponent next week is Jim, Potato Jim, and the Meath Mamoswines. I'm very much looking forward to this game, facing down the Mamoswines and their the mighty Mega Aggron, which is certainly going to be a challenge for my team because I have no fire types. I don't think I have a ground type either. The only thing I've got that can damage it, well, I mean, it doesn't take super effective hits anyway, but I don't really want to be hitting it with resisted hits either. So, possibly, I'm not sure even Mienshao is a good choice for it. I know that Mega Aggron's a bit lighter on the special side, but even then, it's as bulky as sin, so I'm not sure how I'm going to get through that particular obstacle, if indeed it does come to the match. But we'll cross that bridge when we get that far. For now, I hope you've enjoyed the Week 2 match, guys. As always, look out for my team analysis next Thursday, and the next battle on the Friday. So until then, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.